Johnson.
Y'all with me? 28 days, a cultural relevance. We need to be encouraged. We need to be uplifted. We need to be empowered. We need to be motivated. The problem that I am faced with is that I am invited regularly over and over and over and over again to come and give speeches to people, for the most part, who aren't going to do anything with it. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it from the standpoint that this generation of young people that is in college right now are the most visionary, the most capable, the most intellectual, have the access to the most resources and opportunities, but in many cases are the most entitled and unwilling to do work. And so when I meet college students all over the country, young people for that matter, I have folks that roll up on me on a regular basis like, yo, you need to put me on your show. I'm like, well, what you do? I'm just hot. Or people that'll come up on the set and like, give me an internship. And I'm like, well, what you want to do? What are you interested in? Well, I'm interested in television production. All right, well, I got some opportunities, and here's what we're going to do. Well, how much am I going to get paid? And while all of us need to be in a position where economically we have opportunities to be able to make a living, some of us need to understand that there are periods of time for the purpose of preparation that we need to submit ourselves in places that can provide us with fundamental information that we can take to the next level to get us paid. And this 28-day campaign is so fundamentally important because it's challenging us in a real way to go beyond simply talking and be able to identify areas of our own life that we want to be better. Because many of us know what we think we want, but haven't necessarily been given the tools or a system or a methodology or a strategy to be able to do it. And we as a community, especially African Americans, have become experts at motivation and inspiration and terrible at direction. Doing backflips in church, speaking tongues in Russian, and then coming to the altar the same way week after week after week because you've been emotionally moved, but not intellectually directed. And I'm not telling you that there needs to be one or the other. I'm saying we need both. So what is it that you really want to change? What is it that you want to possess? What is it that you want to have? Because it's not just about AT&T, and it's not just about 28 days. This is about legacy. This is about destiny. This is about understanding without any question that you were created for a purpose. So many young people I meet, college students in particular, are defining themselves by their major. And when I meet them, it's hilarious. Like, hey, tell me about yourself. Well, I'm an education major. No, tell me who you are. Because when you define yourself by your major, you go into the role of defining yourself by your job. So those people that I'm an education major, I'm an engineering major, I'm whatever, underwater bubble blowing major. I mean, I'm transition into I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a teacher, I'm unhappy. Because if you believe for a moment that you were created to get a piece of paper that simply defines that you completed a certain number of courses in a discipline that would prepare you to be able to have a job in a certain workplace and then be able to get another piece of paper that normally is not worth what you did, to define your worth, to define your identity. How crazy is that? Your purpose, the purpose for which you were created, is to use that degree and use that job to be able to create something in the universe that did not exist before you showed up. And only you have the ability to do it. Human beings are the only living organism on earth that have the choice not to accept their purpose and not physically die. Right? So if there's a lion that's on the Serengeti, right? He like, yo, son, this gazelle giving me gas. I'm just gonna eat some plants. Be a vegan lion. About to change the game, son. How much changes if a lion is hurt and can't hunt? What happens? Not only does it die, But the pride is at risk because them not fulfilling their purpose doesn't just affect their reality. It affects the reality of the whole pride. Our pride is in trouble because so many people are failing to accept their purpose in the name of accepting titles and positions and promotions and nonsense. Leadership that is less concerned with providing but just receiving. And then young people that walk that out so that even if I'm a young brother that knows there's a call on my life with the ability to be able to preach the gospel, I'm more concerned with what car I drive and the suit I have, and if my ministry is on TV, then am I providing substantive freedom and a prophetic voice to changing the reality of the community where I am? Because so many of us are sitting in places that we claim we don't like, but not doing the work necessary to move beyond it because we can't see ourselves being the best in the position we're in. So how can we see ourselves in another position? So many of us are so busy trying to gain the prize that we ignore the process. So what's the vision? Spend time asking yourself, if I want to do better, if I want to have better grades, then what's the best student look like? Because the vision is the destination. And once you determine the destination, then you determine the vehicle. After you've developed the vision, then what is the strategy? How am I going to become that best student? And what that takes on our part is not these overarching 10,000 feet high kind of proclamations of, I'm going to study every day. Oh, okay, right? No. That's not strategy. Those are just proclamations. Strategy is, if I know that I am not the best student I need to be, and I see the picture of the kind of student I need to be, the first question I have to ask is what is standing in the way of this student becoming this student? Then I have to be able to assess what are the things I need to get rid of. So after you've removed those things, you've identified those things, how are you going to remove them? And some of us have to be just radical with it. Like some of us cannot study in our dorm, cannot study in our apartment because it don't work. Finish the strategy. Then specifically, what are the things that I'm going to do? I am going to do this once a week. I'm going to do this during this hour each day. Create very specific benchmarks for yourself, because what we're doing is, one of the aspects of this 28-day piece from AT&T is that we're trying to change behavior. And we're using 28 days as a cycle. If we can create a process over 28 days and do it over and over and over again, we're attempting to change bad behavior into good behavior. Finally, you've got to have somebody on your team that you have discussion with. See, because some of us have the most well laid out plans and no mechanism of accountability. And that's when you find out who your real friends are. How many of us have people on our teams that's hijacking the mission? Whoa. And I'm not just talking about raggedy people that just don't want to roll with you. I'm talking about people who love you but don't have the capacity to help you win. Do three things. Identify what moves you emotionally. What pisses you off, what makes your skin itch, what makes you cry, what keeps you up at night. Because that is your body telling you what your spirit has a responsibility to be a part of fixing. It is irresponsible to be angry and negligent. After you've identified what is that area that moves you, figure out where do you want to have impact on that issue. Truly enlightened, understand that the unenlightened don't have to know what the enlightened are doing for the unenlightened to be saved. What are you willing to do? Because whether it's 28 days, logging on to the AT&T website, figuring out what it is that you want to do differently than you've done in the past, or whether it's you saving your family, saving your community, saving this country, which is in trouble. Because I could care less what you think about me. What I care about is what are you going to do with everything that you've been given.